There's a saying in politics, have as many people to your right as to your left. That's one of Morton Blackwell's rules. And it's good for Danielle Smith and for her party and for her other MLAs and for her cabinet ministers to know that there are people to her right. And so they cannot be ignored.
Ottawa continues or has ignored us and will continue to ignore us. It doesn't matter what we do here tonight or what the outcome of this is. They will continue to ignore us. There's one question only that needs to be on a referendum, and that is, do you support Alberta exiting Canadian Confederation and becoming a sovereign nation? At that point, then you'll be able to negotiate with Ottawa. Then you'll be able to negotiate with Quebec. Without that, they will continue to ignore us. If they do not know that we are serious and we can leave at any point in time, we will not ever get a pipeline to the Atlantic Ocean. It is time to put the separation question on a ballot so that Alberta people can decide. Thank you.
Thank you. I would say.
Okay, that was the wrong clip. That wasn't the Jeffrey Rath one, but that was just a clip of just what happened on the open mic. I think the Alberta government might think that this Alberta Next panel could placate people. But I think they're going to get a lot of that on the open mic portion where people are saying, look, we have to vote to separate, even if it just means a negotiating tool. Cory, what do you think?
Well, yeah, Premier Smith's in a tough spot because while the majority of her party membership tend to be sympathetic towards independence, the majority of the province isn't quite there yet. And she has to appeal to the majority of the province to try and stay in power. There's concerns among people already dedicated to the independence approach or referendum approach that this is going to be like Jason Kenney's Fair Deal panel, where a bunch of hearings were held, a bunch of talk was had, and nothing happened. Mm-hmm. So is this actually going to lead towards something, towards changes, whether it's a referendum or things like a pension plan or collecting our own taxes, or is just an exercise that's kicking the can down the road? So
this report is brought to you by
Alberta powers Canada, but Ottawa keeps limiting our potential. The Alberta Next panel wants your ideas to strengthen our sovereignty within a united Canada. Help decide what's next for Alberta. Visit alberta.ca/next.
I believe that part of her challenge as she holds this challenge around the province is to make sure that people feel confident that this is more than just a navel-gazing exercise and it's going to lead to something. Or if anything, it's going to divide the party potentially and cause some issues from within.
Lise?
I love how the government of Alberta is saying, hi, we would like to talk about pensions and policing and some of our smaller issues. And the people of Alberta come in guns blazing like, nope, we need to threaten to leave. We need to threaten to leave right now. And there's no way that the government of Alberta can pretend that they didn't hear them loud and clear. I think this is going to be something we hear at every single one of their Alberta Next panels. And it'll be interesting to see how the government of Alberta responds. Because Cory's right. Of course they have to ask the people of Alberta what they want next to happen, but they can't ignore the humongous elephant in the room where a great many of their supporters are saying, we've had enough asking the federal government to play nice and we're done. So it'd be interesting to see.
Well, it is. Sorry, go ahead, boss.
Oh, yeah, I was listening to that question asker, and I don't know who that was. But I like what he said, and here's my thoughts. There's a saying in politics, have as many people to your right as to your left. That's one of Morton Blackwell's rules. And it's good for Danielle Smith and for her party and for her other MLAs and for her cabinet ministers to know that there are people to her right. And so they cannot be ignored. They don't have to necessarily be obeyed to the letter, but it's always a good if you have as many to your right as to your left, you're going to walk a straight line. You never want to be in the position where you silence that one side, then you'll start to curve to the left. And others need to hear it too. People, by definition, it makes Danielle Smith look moderate and reasonable if you have people asking for her to be harder line. So I am in no way objecting to that. And it shows the media, it shows Ottawa observers that there is something cooking in Alberta. The entire federal government was recalibrated after the last separatist referendum about 30 years ago to detect any inkling of upset into Quebec and immediately ameliorate or in some ways attend to it. They don't have the same seismograph in Alberta. So you have to magnify the sounds of discontent for Ottawa to hear it. They don't care as much. They don't have as many political operators on the ground. They don't have as many cabinet ministers. So it's important that Ottawa and the Ottawa media know that there is discontent in Alberta. So I'm pleased with what I just saw there. One last thing I would say is whenever you open up the mics, it's probably a good idea to have a few of your friends there who are saying something that you want to be the topic of conversation. Because if you're having a forum, especially a traveling forum, and you're opening it up to anyone, other people will say, now I've got a platform for my agenda. And that's fine. That's part of democracy. Just make sure that her agenda, that she knows what it is, and she has people there to elocute it, because others will make their points too. Anyway, I was pleased with what you just showed.